Welcome back to another mini-sode of A Doctor's Perspective. Today we are discussing, I'd like you to be a part of this discussion, Story Matters Podcast by James Cook Media, Season 1, Episode 2, Who's Your Hero? He starts out talking about, who's your hero? Nobody really wants to be told they're going to be Luke Skywalker. They're Luke Skywalker. Custom. You need to be Yoda. You need to be the guide. Been following that type of stuff. Nothing new there, except that you just need to be the guide. And when you're looking at your website, if you're reading a bunch of stuff, the sentences that you have, and you're like, there's a lot of I, there's a lot of we, you should look at it and say, hey, let me rewrite this so there's a lot more of you. So when the patient reads it, they can see themselves. When you say you, they can see themselves and whatever it is that you're talking about. If you say I or we again, you're making yourself the hero, which you don't want to be. You want to be the guide. Finding your avatar. There's free things online, HubSpot, and just Google avatar. And they were discussing, you might go through the process, or maybe you've been in business for a while and you really thought you wanted to do the elderly. And then once you got the elderly, you're like, wow, these people are not who I really want to have as my ideal client. And it's a shame because I've been marketing so heavily for the last 6 years. Or maybe it's athletes, and you realize maybe the athletes are too needy, or everybody thinks they're so special, and you're like, I just can't deal with that person anymore. So, my goodness, what do I do? I've spent all this time. They're like, okay, well, figure out when you've had those random other patients. Of course, you're not just going to see athletes all day. So, or old people. Whenever you do see the people, when you are looking at the other people, what do you like? And then start building that avatar on that, and start doing your advertising of that, and slowly start changing the clinic. Because if you just drastically change and say, I'm no longer treating these people, well, it's really going to hit your bottom line, and you're going to wish you probably didn't do that. So a slow process in changing is a good idea. He mentioned this thing called empathy. I guess there's like a whole genre of business coaching based on empathy, and you can Google that, empathy worksheets, and you can find out more about that. I didn't really know much about that yet, other than, just being empathetic towards your customer and what you're doing. But like I said, that may be something I need to explore myself. I haven't really heard about that before. One thing he mentioned was when you're changing your avatar, and I've heard this in somewhere else, and he didn't really mention this, but can you change a landing page? You might have your generic catch-all homepage for your website, but could you tweak it? So you create a new landing page for sports, a new landing page for headaches, a new landing page for pregnancy, a new web page for wisdom teeth removal, for braces, etc. And when you advertise, you just advertise that link that leads directly to that. So you can still story brand your website. It's the exact same thing for everything, but it's a little bit tailored with the pictures and some of the words directly to the condition that you're trying to treat. And the giveaway that you would have would be directed towards that as well. And you probably should see conversions skyrocket to be that laser focused. Let's see. Overall, nice guy. Seems like he's got a lot of good information. It's my first time listening to his podcast. I saw his ad on Facebook. It looks like StoryBrand. I was interested. I gave him the email, took a little quiz. It said, I am something like influencing entrepreneur, something like that. The person that is famous is Richard Branson. So that's who I would represent. Fun-loving, get out there, let's try something new, life of the party, exciting. You see something wrong, let's try to fix it. Let's invent something, let's make it better. I was like, okay, I can see that in part of myself. So yeah, I wasn't too sad about that turnout. Sometimes I like to take quizzes twice and just be like, all right, what do I think I am, and what are the opposite, and see if it actually changes. I'm always curious about the back end of these quizzes and see what else is out. Anyway, that about a wrap for this episode. Join in the conversation on social media. Reference this podcast number, and we'll communicate. You're listening to Dr. Justin Trosclair. We just went #behind the curtain.